Wes Randecker here to read If I Ran the Circus. In all the whole town, the most wonderful spot is behind Sneelock's store in the big vacant lot. It's just the right spot for my wonderful plans, said young Morris McGurk, if I clean up the cans. Now, a fellow like me, said young Morris McGurk, could get rid of this junk with a half-hour's work. I could yank up those weeds and chop down the dead tree, and haul off those old cars. There are just 2 or 3, and then the whole place will be ready. You see, all ready to put up the tents for my circus. I think I will call it the Circus McGurkus. The Circus McGurkus, the world's greatest show on the face of the earth, or wherever you go. The Circus McGurkus, the cream of the cream. The Circus McGurkus, the circus supreme. The Circus McGurkus, colossal, stupendous, astounding, fantastic, terrific, tremendous. I'll bring in my acrobats, jugglers, and clowns from 1,033 faraway towns to the place that you'll see 'em in, ladies and gents, right behind Sneelock's store in the great McGurk tents. And I don't suppose old Mr. Sneelock will mind when he suddenly has a big circus behind. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends. He might even help out doing small odds and ends. Doing little odd jobs he could be of some aid, such as selling balloons in the pink lemonade. I think 500 gallons will be about right, and then I'll be ready for opening night. What an opening night! What a night! What a sight! I'll hoist up the curtains. The crowds will crowd in, and my Circus McGurkus will promptly begin, with a welcoming toot on my welcoming horn, by my horn-tooting apes from the jungles of Jorn, where the very best horn-tooting apes are all born, 'cause the very fresh air there is fine for their lungs, and some of those fellows have 2 or 3 tongues. This way, step right in, this way, ladies and gents. My sideshow starts here in the first of my tents. When you see what goes on, you'll say, no other circus is. Half the great circus the Circus McGurkus is. Half the great circus the Circus Here on stage 1, from the ocean of Alf, is a sight most amazing, a walrus named Rolf, who can stand on 1 whisker, this wonderful Rolf, on top of 5 balls, 2 for tennis, 3 golf. It's a marvelous trick, if I say so myself. And on stage number 2, here is something quite new. From a country called From comes the drum-tummied Snum, who can drum any tune that you might care to hum. It doesn't hurt him a bit, 'cause his drum-tummy's numb. And now you'll meet the Foon, the remarkable Foon, who eats sizzling hot pebbles that fall off the moon. And the reason he likes them red hot, it appears, is he greatly enjoys blowing smoke from his ears. Of course, pebbles like this are quite hard to collect, but Sneelock will manage, somehow, I expect. After all, Mr. Sneelock is one of my friends, and I'm sure he'll help out doing small odds and ends. And on stage number 4, see the wily Waloo, who can throw his long tail as sort of a lasso. With a flip of the hip, with a tail of this kind, he can capture whoever is standing behind. He can capture old Sneelock. I'm sure he won't mind. And now here is a hoodwink, who winks in his winkhood. Without a good winkhood, a hoodwink can't wink good. And folks, let me tell you, there is only one circus with wink-hooded hoodwinks, the Circus McGurkus. The show of all shows. There's no other showman who shows you a show with a blindfolded bowman. The blindfolded bowman from Burger Barut, the world's sharpest shooter. Look at him shoot. The world's through the holes in 4 donuts, 2 hairs on a worm, and the knees of 3 burns without making them squirm, and then on through a crab apple up on the head of Sneelock, who likes to help out, as I've said. And now come to this spot where the spotlight is hot, and you'll see in the spotlight a juggling giant who can juggle some stuff you might think he could not, such as 22 question marks, which is a lot, also 44 commas, and also one dot. That's the kind of a Circus McGurkus I've got. But that's just my slideshow, a start, a beginning. This way to the big tent, you'll find your head spinning. Why, ladies and gentlemen, youngsters and oldsters, your heads will quite likely spin right off your shoulders. So hurry, step lively, quick, ladies and gents, and get into your seats in my tent of all tents. My parade of parades is about to commence. You'll see Drum Major Sneelock flame his baton, and my organ McGorkin McGurkus comes on. With its hot steaming pipes of gold brass-plated tin, snorting all sorts of snorts in a bumbling din. That is super stupendous, stupendous, stupendous. And when I play Dixie, please join in the chorus. Then a fluff-muffled truffle will ride on a huffle, and next in the line, a fine flummox will shuffle. The flummox will carry a lurch in a pail, and a fibble will carry the flummox's tail, while on top of the flummox, 3 harp-twining snarp will twang mighty twangs on their 3-snarper harp, while a bolster blows bloops on a 3-nozzled blueser, a nolster blows floops on a 1-nozzled noozer, and then comes a lion who's partly a trout, then more stuff for 45 minutes about. Excuse me. And then, behind them while everyone stares, come my to and fro marchers, who march in 5 layers. The froes march on 2s, and the 2s march on froes. Don't know how they do it, but that's how it goes. And now comes an act of enormous enormous. No former performers performed this performance. This stunt is too grippingly, slippingly frightening. Down from the top of my tent, like greased lightning, through pots full of lots of big sticklebush trees, slides a man, what a man, on his roller skis. And he'll steer without fear, and you'll know at a glance that it's Sneelock, the man who takes chance after chance, and he won't even rip a small hole in his pants. And now here, in this cage, is the beast most ferocious, who's known far and wide as the spotted atrocious, who growls, howls, and yowls the most blood-curdling sounds, and each tooth in his mouth weighs at least 60 pounds, and he chews up and eats with the greatest of ease things like carpets and sidewalks and people and trees. But the great Colonel Sneelock is just the right kind of a man who can tame him. I'm sure he won't mind. Then I'll let Sneelock off for a few minutes rest. Excuse me. While high over your heads you will see the best of the world's finest, fanciest breezy trapezing, my Zuma Zoop troop from West Upper Bendizing, who never quite know, while they zoop and they zoom, whether which will catch what one or who will catch whom, or if who will catch which by the what and just where, or just when and just how in which part of the air. Hey, what a circus! My Circus McGurkus! My workers love work. They say, work us, please work us. We'll work and we'll work up so many surprises you'd never seen half if you had 40 eyes. And now, again, Sneelock. Brave Sneelock is back, risking life on my patented life-risking track, while the speedsters I call my colliding collusions race round in swift cars called abrasion contrusions. And Sneelock just lies there, not one bit excited. I know he won't mind. He'll be simply delighted. And here, in a contest of brute strength and muscle, Kid Sneelock, my champion of My champ of all champs will now tussle and wrestle a beast called the Grizzly Ghastly, and slap him around, then he'll slam him down fastly, and pin both his shoulders tight flat to the mat. Kid Sneelot will love it, I'm sure about that. And while that goes on there, look at this go on here. Have you ever heard of my herd of through horns jumping deer? Every deer jumps through horns of another pell-mell, while his horns are jumped through at the same time as well, by a deer whose horns also are being jumped through, by another who's having his horns jumped through too, which I'm sure trainer Sneelot can train them to do. Then the whole tent will ring with hoorays and wild shouts when I reel in my whales and they turn on their spouts. First, my whale number 1, with an aim that aims true, spouts a spout that spouts Sneelot to whale number 2. And then whale number 2 spouts his spout like a gun, and that spouts old Sneelot right back to whale 1. And then forwards and backwards on spout after spout, my great spout rider Sneelot gets spouted about, just as long as the water they're spouting holds out. Then my tournament knights, noble apes without fears, Sir Hector, Sir Vector, Sir Bops, and Sir Beers, Sir Hawkins, Sir Dawkins, Sir Jocks, and Sir Jeers, clatter into the tent, and while everyone cheers, stage a roustabout joust with their boxing glove spears. And while all this wild ruckus scene goes on below, at the top of the tent, look, the star of my show, great daredevil Sneelot, the world's bravest type. He comes pulled through the air by 3 Superian snipe, on a dangerous contraption attached to his pipe. And while people below are all turning chalk white, and all biting their fingernails off in their fright, great Sneelot soars up to a terrible height. Then he shakes himself loose. He starts down in a dive, such as no man on earth could come out of alive. But he smiles as he falls, and no fear does he feel. His nerves are like iron, his muscles like steel. And he plunged down, with his hair still combed neat, 4,692 feet. Sorry about that. Then he'll land in a fishbowl. He'll manage just fine. Don't ask how he'll manage. That's his job, not mine. Why, he'll be a hero. Of course he won't mind when he finds that he has a big circus behind. Take care of yourselves and each other, and goodbye.